Yeah, what's up? It is Worryometer Wednesday. Oh, no. A horrible thing. We'll see who the fantasy community is worried about. Rookie running back. This show is sponsored by Rookie Running Backs. This show is also brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Welcome, everybody, to Fantasy Football Today. Yeah, if you go on X, or Twitter, or Twix, as we started calling it, I'm seeing fantasy analysts going, hey, rookie running backs are still going to be great. And everyone else being like, why'd you tell me to draft rookie running backs? So that's obviously something we'll talk about because we didn't even get to talk about Genty and Hampton from the Monday night games. Good morning,
the commentators.
What's that?
Neither did the commentators.
They didn't talk about them?
They didn't do very much.
The guy, yeah. Well, I hope Chris Fowler's had a nice day or two in bed to rest. He's really gutting it out on Monday night. That's Jamie. Hey, Dave.
What's up, dude?
Heath.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to get our biggest risers and fallers, and we're going to get your trade targets, and we're going to preview Thursday night football, Dolphins at Bills. Is this the time to get rid of your Dolphins before it's too late? Who do you guys think the most traded player is in CBS Sports Leagues?
Rashee Rice. Javonte Williams.
Mecca Buka.
One of you was right. Raise your hand if you think you're right. If Dave was right, it's Javonte Williams.
Wow.
Followed by A.J. Brown. And then number 3, Isaiah Pacheco. If I had just been asleep for 2 weeks, I've been like, oh, he's having that good of a year. People are selling him for Ashton Genty. All right. Anyway, who are some guys that have risen the most for you that you're just kind of buying since preseason? Heath, go.
I will say Zay Flowers. He followed up his excellent week 1 with an 11-target game in week 2, has a 42% target share, which is second in the NFL right now, is averaging 4.27 yards per route run, which is absolutely insane. A 100th of a yard behind JSN, who's also a big riser, but we had him ranked higher in the preseason. And I think there's still, first off, you shouldn't expect him to do this all year because no one ever has. And we'll find out a little bit more when Isaiah Likely is 100%. And we see what the target distribution is like then. But he's a former first-round pick who's in year 3 of his career, who looks like he's having a breakout. I don't want to be too skeptical with guys like this because we always thought he was talented. It was just the situation, the low pass volume, and the amount of targets that went to the tight ends kind of held him back. That doesn't seem to be the case right now.
All right, that's Zay Flowers, big riser for Heath. Dave, who's a big riser for you?
Javonte Williams. It's obvious. We've seen it now 2 games. There was a reason why the Cowboys went with him as their main running back. And though I don't know how his efficiency metrics are, but the workload is unbelievable. Clearly working in short yardage situations and being successful with it. And I get why people want to get away from him because it's Javonte Williams. There's all kinds of downside kind of baked in based on what we've known about him since he's come into the NFL. Back-to-back weeks with 20 PPR points is pretty good. I think the receiving traits and certainly the receiving numbers in games where the Cowboys are going to be trailing, which, I don't know how many of those games. I don't think it's going to be every week, but I think it's going to be a bunch of games where the Cowboys are going to be at least competitive because their defense isn't great. I think you're going to see good numbers continue from Javonte Williams. So you've got no choice but to view him as a nice number 2 fantasy running back moving forward.
With that said, he is our most traded player, and you did put him in the notes as a sell high. So Javonte Williams.
It's because it's because how many more weeks is he going to deliver 20-plus PPR points? And if you use that to try and turn him into something really good, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm definitely struggling with this because I have him in 4 or 5 leagues, and I just feel like I'd be an idiot if I didn't try to sell him. But I
ran a Twitter poll this morning, and I should have sent it to you. Javonte Williams will be a top blank running back rest of season. 76% said top 20.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But
I wouldn't say top 15, and I'd be I don't know. I'd be a little
only 10% said top 10, but which I think he's is he number 2 or 3 right now?
His James Cook 1, Christian McCaffrey 2, Javonte Williams 3, Bijan Robinson 4, Devon Achane 5.
Awesome.
He has a
great. Off to a great start.
You know, it's Javonte, and I know I wanted to like be quick on this, but he's so interesting, and he's the most traded player. So he gets Chicago this week. They've had a terrible run defense. He gets Green Bay in week 4. That's bad. Jets, Panthers, Commanders. Are we shying away from any of these matchups? You know, maybe you could say the Cowboys won't have to throw so much in these games necessarily, so he won't have the catches. But it's not. If he had a really bad schedule, I guess I'd be nervous. But Jamie, you haven't chimed in. How do you feel about Javonte?
I think it's been fun. You know, it's been fun to see him, you know, take advantage of this opportunity. You know, we were saying that Daniel Jones is the new Sam Darnold. Javonte Williams is the new J.K. Dobbins. You know, a guy that gets a great opportunity, that had the talent to be successful, and injuries were a problem. And here he is, healthy and taking advantage of this opportunity. So, you know, I think it's obvious, as you guys alluded to. You know, you try to sell him if you can, but you clearly have to make sure you're getting something spectacular in return at this point, because he's playing at a very high level. And maybe he's just a much better version of Rico Dowdle, who closed last year at a very high note as well.
Would you turn him into Chase Brown if you could?
In a heartbeat.
Agreed.
What about Rashee Rice?
I think that comes down to need. You know, I mean, if you're talking about a flex at this point, I'd probably rather have Rice. But, you know, there's so many people that need running backs. I can't think of a situation where, if you're dangling Javonte Williams in trade, that it's not going to bring you back something good in return at this point.
Rico Dowdle in weeks 12 through 18, when he finally got the work, was RB 18 per game in full PPR. That was with only 32 catches and only 5 touchdowns. On pace for only 32 catches and on pace for only 5 touchdowns. Javante's already scored 3 this year, and also the difference is Dowdle averaged 4.7 yards per carry, 4.8 yards per carry in that stretch, where we don't think Javonte is going to do that. All right, but RB 18 maybe is where you kind of look at. Heath, last thing, would you trade Javonte for Genty or Hampton or any other rookie running backs?
I would happily trade him for Genty. I think that might be it. The only other thing I will say is, like, I thought week 1 was, the fantasy production was not entirely fraudulent, but at least fraudulent adjacent. Week 2 was the Giants. Like, I'm still pretty undecided on Javonte, and Dak currently, we all think he's playing really well, has a 2.3% touchdown rate. Like, he's probably going to double that and maybe more. So the rushing touchdowns for the Cowboys are not going to be like this.
Okay. All right. Jamie, who's a big riser for you?
Deebo Samuel. You know, give him some credit, you know, for what the situation has unfolded. You know, we'll see what happens with Jaden Daniels in this knee injury, but I mean, he's clearly been the go-to guy in this receiving core, and taking advantage of Terry McLaurin's absence in training camp and developing that rapport with Daniels and developing that, you know, I think the reliability that Cliff Kingsbury was looking for. And it's been fun to watch. You know, hopefully he stays healthy, and, you know, hopefully Daniel stays healthy. At some point, McLaurin's going to have, I think, the production that, you know, he's capable of doing. But right now it's been a pretty big disconnect between Daniels and McLaurin, and a pretty solid connection between him and Deebo.
Okay, biggest fallers. Heath, we'll start with you. Who's the biggest faller for you?
It's got to be David Njoku. Harold Fannon's role completely unexpected week 1. And so far, Fannon has outproduced Njoku in 2 games. I thought Njoku had a chance to be a top 5 tight end this year. I thought he was the best value amongst the tight ends going between round 3 and round 10. And that does not look to be true at all. And the bad thing is, so far for the Browns, targets to Fannon have been better plays than targets to Njoku. So it's hard to really imagine that swinging back in his favor. I'm not all the way out on him yet, but he's definitely a big faller.
Okay, Dave, faller for you.
I originally was going to go with Calvin Ridley. There's 33 wide receivers who have had at least 14 targets so far this season, and Ridley is averaging under 8 PPR points per game. But then I looked just like a couple of spots higher, and Brian Thomas Jr. he's got 19 targets and he's averaging less than 9 PPR points per game. And the week 2 film was bad for him, man. Just the fact that he's not going all out to snare every pass and every target that he gets from Trevor Lawrence. His only big play has really been on a run. I'm wondering if this injury that's going on with his wrist, there's more to it than that. And I'm definitely worried about him not meeting expectations this year.
Okay. Zay Flowers or Brian Thomas Jr.?
I still have Thomas, and I love Flowers.
Oh, they're asking Dave. I'm sorry. I would take Thomas still.
I would take Thomas as well, but the gap is narrowing rapidly.
Jackson Smith and Jigba or Brian Thomas Jr.?
JSN.
Jason.
I think I have them back to back.
You want to hear a stat on Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Is it that he's got the highest target share?
Well, we have 3 wide receivers. Obviously, through 2 weeks, stats are wonky, right? We have 3 wide receivers with a target share of 40% or higher. That has not happened. I just looked at weeks 1 and 2. Hasn't happened since 2017 or 18, maybe. I think Julio Jones. So that would be Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, and Zay Flowers, I believe, are the 3 wide receivers. Yep. So JSN, I talked about this on the box score. He's not running a lot of routes. He's not playing a lot of snaps for a an elite wide receiver. 57 wide receivers so far have 10 or more targets. 57. Here are where JSN, Cooper Kupp, and Zay Flowers rank in routes run. They are 52nd, 53rd, and 54th. So just in other words, it's a very high target, unsustainably high target share, unsustainably high target per out run rate. And for whatever reason, the Seahawks have not been playing their wide receivers the typical snap share. I don't even think he played 70% of this. He played around 70% of the snaps, I think.
I think Kupp's played more snaps than him, right?
He did in week 2, I think, very slightly.
I think if you look at this past week when Kupp was actually involved, because he was a ghost in week 1, JSN had a 30% target share. That's probably more reasonable for what you should expect.
Okay, well, that would be great.
Yes.
All right. So, Jamie, who's a follower for you?
Every rookie running back. I'll just take the low-hanging fruit.
But you did have them as your buy lows, so you want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, there's still so much upside for them. So, at this point, you can get them hopefully as cheap as it will be because things will start to get better. But the timeshares that we were concerned about are playing themselves out in every case except for Genty. And Genty is just struggling right now behind a bad offensive line, bad game script, and bad play calling, and bad. But, I worry about we won't call it a fumble, the handoff exchange that was credited to Justin Herbert at the end of the game being a problem for Omarion Hampton going into week 3. I wonder if J.K. Dobbins just picking up from last year and being productive for the Broncos is going to continue to be a problem for R.J. Harvey. And now Ramondre Stevenson looking as good as he did in week 2. Is that going to continue to be a problem for Trevion Henderson? I don't think anybody would have said through week 2 that the best rookie running backs would be Dylan Sampson, Bashal Tootin, Cam Scattaboo, and I might be missing somebody, but I mean that's where we are.
Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt.
Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt looking good now too, in a good spot. Not that he's been so good. He was good week 1. Yeah, this is the topic of the day. Go ahead.
I was looking at the snap shares for the rookies. Like that's probably the most discouraging thing for me is almost all of the high-end rookies saw their snap share go down after week 1. And even Hampton, Jamie, we don't worry about the committee with him near as much, but what we saw was when they're chasing the score, he's not their running back that's on they're in the 2-minute drill. He's not the running back that's on the field. And so that is concerning. But what I saw, Hampton had an 80% snap share in week 1, fell to 62% last week. Najee was 18% in week 1, 34% last week. Would anybody be surprised if Najee plays more snaps than Hampton this week? After the way that game ended?
No, but I would imagine that it would be a temporary thing. Not
unless
something that would last a month.
Has a great game.
Yep.
Their leading rusher right now is Herbert. They can't run the ball.
Look, I don't know. I don't know how many people listen to Beyond the Box Score and are listening now, so I'm sorry for repeating a lot of stats. But again, round 2 running back. Hampton's different. He's getting the work. Genty's getting the work. Hampton really didn't get the work last week. A lot of that was late. But the round 2 running backs, they usually take a few weeks for them to get worked in. This is not unusual. I think we all thought it would be a little bit better for this group, but Breece Hall took 4 weeks before they finally gave him big work. Joe Mixon, I think it took 3 weeks. It does happen. Doesn't always happen, though. I mean, sometimes you're waiting and it doesn't always get there. I feel like the one that I just don't really see right now is RJ Harvey as a buy low.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hope I'm wrong, because we were all really high on him. I kept saying it, like, his ADP is not moving. We don't understand it. You know, he's our guy, whatever. But they're using Bidet. Obviously, Dobbins has been good. So this one, I think you might have to really be patient for. I don't know that I would call RJ Harvey a buy low, and I'm going to take a break on that and let you guys respond to that when we come back on Fantasy Football Today. We'll be right back.
Hi.
Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
All right, so let's do this as we talk about the rookie running backs. Because listen, they're still really talented players. And if things break right, this could be you could be kicking yourself. I can't believe I didn't buy low on these guys, right? So let's go through them, and you tell me how you feel about them just going forward. Ashton Genty.
Yeah,
He's gone from a top 10 running back to a top 15 running back for me rest of season, with the hope that he can still become that guy, because he's the one that the workload you don't have to worry about. And if they just get their head on right and start to feed him a little bit more, you could see the path to success.
Not only could you call him a top 15 fantasy running back at the moment, but he's top 15 among running backs in touches through the early part of this year. Clearly leads all the rookie running backs. There are still things that he's doing that are exciting and have translated from his days at Boise State. I don't think his biggest issue is definitely the offensive line, followed by the play calling and just the offense in general in Las Vegas. It's not like Zamir White is taking away a huge chunk of work that makes us nervous. He doesn't have the same problems that a lot of these, literally almost every other running back in this rookie class has. So I feel good about him coming through, and he's a terrific buy low candidate.
I'll still take Genty top 12 rest of season, but I will say his snap share was lower than Amari and Hampton's on Monday night.
Was that because they were trailing, perhaps?
Right, but they're the Raiders.
That's true. How low was it? Tell me how low it was.
11-minute drive that they got a field goal out of in a game where they were trailing 26.
Yeah. Gino was really bad on Monday. He just had an off night. Amari and Hampton, how do we feel about him?
I don't know if that's an off night.
I do. I mean, he was missing guys. He was the interception, like right out of the gate, just didn't see the safety. I don't know. He's not a great player.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Vegas had 18 third downs, and Zamir White played on 11 of them. And I think that definitely had a hand in Genty.
How many did Dylan Laube play on?
He was just overall on 17% for Laube.
Okay, moving on. Amari and Hampton, how are we feeling about him?
I mean, clearly more concerned this week than last week. Last week was okay. They played the Chiefs. Chiefs have a good run defense. Najee, we'll see how much he gets worked in. And then you see, as Heath alluded to, the playing time shift, which I think you had to expect, a better chance of Najee getting work because he was getting healthier, and they had, almost not the true mini bye week, but essentially the true mini bye week because they put on Friday. And so then the game unfolds, and Najee, not that he ran dramatically better than Hampton, but he ran better than him. And then the fumble at the end of the game. So this is not the scenario that you wanted to see. When you have these type of players, especially Najee never fumbles, so that's going to, I'm sure, stand in the mind of Harbaugh. And again, if you want to put it on Hampton, it's not credited to him. I mean, Max Crosby is literally in his face the moment that the ball is on him, but it's just such a tough spot to put the ball on the ground there that, coaches like that are not going to be very forgiving. So you wonder if, what'd you say, was 60-30, 65-35 essentially?
Yeah.
If now that's, 60-40 or 55-45, we're starting to see a more 50-50 split headed our way.
How do you feel about him? Like, he's an
I'd still be buying. I mean, I still buy the talent, but they can't run the ball. I mean, it's just, it's a very strange thing to see a Greg Roman offense struggling to run the ball like this. And, look, I mean, it goes hand in hand. Herbert's playing great. on top of it. But when they need to run the ball, they're just not getting it done. And so that's, I think, almost as concerning as the scenario.
Yeah, people are really just looking at the chat. I mean, people are seriously down on Amari and on the rookie running backs in general. How do we feel about Quinshon Judkins?
Ascending.
Yeah, I don't think he belongs in this conversation yet.
I'm just going through all the rookie running backs in order, the relevant ones that the way they were drafted.
Yeah, he nailed it. Like there's an arrow pointing up for him because he's finally playing. Now, if we get the suspension that you alluded to, I believe on Tuesday, then we have a big problem because you're stunting any progress that he may have made and forcing him to miss time. But at this point, like if somebody's getting rid of him, some sort of trade package that needs receiver help or quarterback help or whatever, like you should be trying to acquire him.
And I'll go back to April when Matt Waldman was on FFT Dynasty, and he had Judkins rated as the best runner other than Ashton Genty in the class. And he had 1.5 NFL practices, and he wasn't great, especially early when the starters are in, but he looked like a good NFL running back. I think he's a flex in PPR and has a chance to be a number 2 running back in non-PPR. And I'm going to do one more rookie running back thing from the chat because somebody asked Hampton or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and that's still definitely Hampton for me rest of season. But I would start Krosky-Merritt over from this week.
Yeah. And I would say one thing just about Judkins, to buy him, you might be able to get him cheaper next week because if he struggles against the Packers, which is probably going to happen, you might get a frustrated manager that's willing to really, get rid of him.
All right, I'm just going to end with: would you rather have Judkins or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt?
Krosky-Merritt right now.
I'd rather start Krosky-Merritt. I think I'd rather have Judkins rest of season.
They're dead even on the trade chart in full PPR. Bill one spot ahead of Judkins in non-PPR.
And Henderson's still ahead of both?
Henderson is behind them both in non-PPR and ahead of them both in full PPR.
And what about Harvey?
Behind.
He might be like RB8.
He's
RB9 in the class.
In the class, wow. But he's there with Tootin right now. Scatabo's on his tail. He's behind that group of Bill, Judkins, and Henderson.
So the big takeaway, do you agree with that, Jamie? The big takeaway would be that RJ Harvey of the rookie running backs that I was going through, like the way they were drafted in the NFL draft, but of the rookie running backs that we were drafting in the first 5 or 6 rounds, Harvey is raising the most red flags.
Without a doubt. Of course. It's mostly just because Dobbins.
Yeah.
I think if he gets a chance to play, then he's going to be still a very solid fantasy option.
I don't think any of us saw Bidet coming.
Right, that's true.
And that's an unsettling feeling when that happens.
Dan said he wants one. It was really gross. Like, I really want a bidet. I was like, oh God, I have to think about it. Yeah. All right. So we'll go to some buy lows and sell highs. We got to do the news and notes. Want to remind everyone, football fans, BetMGM, baby. Use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up, but bring that playoff energy to your pro football bets all season long. This Pro Football Boost Pack gives you 3 ways to boost your payout on a winning bet. Just log into your BetMGM account to receive your Boost Pack, and then place any pro football bet and apply one of the tokens. Make sure to bet up to the minimum stake, odds, and legs specified on the token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. From opening kickoffs to game-winning drives, this Pro Football Boost Pack is your ticket to unforgettable moments this season. Don't wait on the sideline. Join the action with BetMGM. Your news and notes. Oh, just a reminder, Sunday morning, YouTube, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. See you there. YouTube.com/fantasyfootball today. Your news and notes. Aaron Jones is on IR. So he's out at least 4 weeks. The Vikings are expected to re-sign Cam Akers. The next 2 weeks are favorable. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh's been terrible against the run, but maybe they get a little healthier by then. Then after that, it's a really bad schedule. Cleveland, arguably the best run defense in football right now. I think you'd have to say they just held Derrick Henry to 2 fantasy points. Then a bye. Then the Eagles, probably a bad matchup. Remember, they didn't have Jalen Carter in week 1. The Chargers have been a tough matchup. Then the Lions. Then the Ravens. So right now, would you rather have Jordan Mason or Omari and Hampton? And Hampton. I don't mean just the next 4 weeks. I mean rest of season.
Rest of season, Hampton.
Hampton.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got Minnesota charted with the second worst running back schedule rest of season.
Wow.
You were right. Obviously, the next 2 weeks are good, and they end the year. Defense has changed so much between now and week 15 through 17, but as of now, it looks good. But in between those weeks, yikes.
Let's see what happens when Darrisaw's back, what they look like.
Also, like there's, I think 7 teams right now that are giving up less than 3.5 yards per carry on rush attempts. That's not going to continue.
No, but I think Cleveland's proven themselves so far because they were really good last year. They're off to a great start this year. Philadelphia, Detroit, Baltimore. Those are kind of the teams that we expect to be good. But you're right. It's extremely.
And those 3 teams are not part of that 7.
Chargers, by the way, in the projected schedule rest of season is top 5.
Oh, okay. Someone's asking in the chat, when does Christian Darrisaw return? It's possible this week. We're going to call him questionable for this week. Hopefully next week at the latest for Christian Darrisaw. Juwan Jennings day-to-day with an ankle injury. Darren Waller likely out this week, but at least he was able to be limited in practice. Jalen Wright could play this week for the Dolphins. Jalen Waddle was limited with a shoulder injury. We have no reason to think Waddle won't play. They got the Thursday game. Buffalo defensive tackle Ed Oliver and linebacker Matt Milano missed practice, so they're not looking good for Thursday. Christian Kirk, baby! It is revenge game week for Christian Kirk at Jacksonville. He is likely to play this week. So is Braxton Berrios. Tampa Bay, right tackle Luke Gedeke is going to miss several weeks, and defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey is likely out for the season with a torn pec. Minnesota, I already mentioned this. Left tackle Minnesota, Christian Darrisaw is questionable. Pittsburgh's defense is super beat up this week. Probably going to be without their top cornerback, one of their best pass rushers. They're super beat up, Pittsburgh, and they're facing New England on the road.
And they've been terrible against the run for 2 straight weeks.
Yeah. And Cincinnati signed quarterbacks Mike White and Sean Clifford to their practice squad, and Brett Rippon is their backup. Okay, into the buy lows and the sell highs. We touched on a lot of these guys. Jamie's were, some of the rookie running backs. Is there anything else you'd like to say, or have we wrapped up on that?
No, I think we're good. I do hope that we get, I guess the one we didn't really mention, Trevion is, you talked about it in the trade chart, but I would hope that we get a situation where maybe chasing points like we had in week 1, and he's more involved in the passing game.
Okay. Heath's buy lows: Ladd McConkey, Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Quinshon Judkins, and then if you're 0-2, or no, if you're 2-0 and you're targeting the 0-2 team that has Rashee Rice, that's the one you could buy low for. But McConkey, no red zone, no green zone, no end zone targets yet. 7 targets per game. Target per route run rate down a little bit. Keenan Allen has more targets. Quentin Johnson has the same amount of targets, so not too concerned.
And people are really freaking out about Ladd McConkey. He has a 23% target share. They've just kind of done away with targets to the tight ends, and it's 70% of their targets going to 3 wide receivers so far. If that changes, I don't think it's Ladd's target share that's going down. He's at 23%. I had him at 24% projected at the beginning of the season. I have basically zero concern about Ladd McConkey. Yes, there's more competition than we expected. Although I said before the year I thought Allen was getting 7 targets a game. The pie is going to be bigger than we thought it was in terms of the passing game.
It's 8.5 targets per game for Keenan Allen so far. It's 7 for McConkey, and it's 7 for Quentin Johnson. Johnston and McConkey have the exact same target share. I think this is kind of a byproduct of. Is it a byproduct of the Chargers not being able to run the ball, or just the byproduct of the Chargers saying, listen, we've got a great quarterback, we're going to use him, we're going to spread the ball around? Or could it just be both of those things?
I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of both, but I think the really interesting thing is, I don't know if anybody said this, but Keenan Allen has more targets than Ladd McConkey, and Quentin Johnston has the same number of targets as Ladd McConkey.
I heard that.
Yeah. But McConkey, okay, so he is averaging the 7 targets per game. When he went off down the stretch, he was averaging like 7.5 targets per game.
Right.
So he's shown he was wide receiver 11 per game in that stretch last year, his last 10 games. He's shown that he can be that good, but, still we wanted to see more targets per game. But, okay, Ladd McConkey's buy low. Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave.
I mean, McLaurin and Jamie was on this before the season. I think Dave probably was too, that McLaurin get off to a slow start because of the holdout. That doesn't mean he's going to be bad all year. He had 9 targets last week. Now we get the Jaden Daniels injury, so people might be even more scared of him. I think it's a really good opportunity, especially if you don't have to have a win this week, to buy low on McLaurin, who I still think is going to be a borderline wide receiver 2 rest of season.
Olave?
I've been really encouraged by the way that they're distributing the football and the way that they're using him. He's moving around the formation more. He's working out of the slot more. And there are, not this week, but there are some opportunities coming up for the Saints in the pass game schedule where I think that they will have better production. They have in the next couple of months, the Giants, the Patriots, the Bears, the Panthers a couple of times, the Dolphins. I think that it could be a much – Olave was almost my biggest riser, and he hasn't even done much to earn that yet.
So with McLaurin and Olave, would you give up Javonte Williams for either of them?
You have to get more than that.
You have to get more than that for Javonte?
I think you should.
Okay.
But I think there's a chance both those guys are better than him, but I think you should be able to get more than that right now.
I would not do it for McLaurin. I would do it for McConkey.
Wait, you would give up Javonte for McConkey. You would not give up Javonte for McLaurin.
Correct.
Okay. And then Quinshon Judkins we discussed, and Rashee Rice. Basically, I'll just ask you this. Do you expect Rashee Rice to be Rashee Rice when he gets back?
I expect him to be a top 15 wide receiver from week 7 on.
Okay. And there you go. So obviously you have to wait 4 more weeks, but you should be, if you're in a position of strength, go find the 0-2 Rashee Rice manager.
And what was the trade you just made? Javonte.
I traded Javonte for Rashee Rice. I was 2-0. He was 0-2. I have Ken Walker, Travis Etienne, and Quinshon Judkins on that team. So I felt like Javonte was a little bit expendable.
You traded your best running back.
That was the response from Twitter, as I traded my best running back.
I feel like Xavier Worthy could have a big month because he's probably coming back this week, right? I mean, yeah.
I'm not sure if are we at probably coming back this week, or are we at possibly coming back this week?
I think we'll find out today. I think it's possibly.
All right.
Today's a big day. Today's a big day for injuries.
But Thursday's the big day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if Jaden Daniels does nothing, Justin Fields is still in the concussion protocol. Like, we got a lot of guys that are coming into the week with injuries. If they don't do anything, it's going to be a little bit of a panic.
Okay. Dave, buy low on Kyren Williams, Chase Brown, AJ Brown, and Matthew Golden. Start with Kyren Williams.
Kyren Williams is still dominating touches. He's got 19 in each of his first 2 games. He'll be due for touchdowns and big games along the way. The only thing that really worries me, I'm not as worried about Blake Corum as you guys might be. I do think the Rams have a tough schedule moving forward. And Stafford's been playing great. He's been throwing the ball really well. And, of course, there's always the concern about what happens if Stafford misses time. What does that do to the run game? That all comes into play, but you can't argue with the workload that Kyren Williams has had so far.
Javonte or Kyren?
I think I still have Kyren higher than Javonte.
I do too.
Yeah, Chase Brown is next on your buy low list. So I said Chase Brown that I would take him. I think I said round 4 if we were drafting today. Do you value him higher than that? 12-team league?
In that range, if not a little bit higher. The good is that he gets a lot of touches. He's still fast, but bad. The offensive line isn't good. I mentioned the Vikings had the second toughest schedule rest of season, according to my projections, but the Bengals have the worst. So those things come into play, but he should get more targets as the season rolls along.
Chase Brown. Okay. Would you rather have Zay Flowers or Chase Brown?
Brown.
Would you who's like okay, let me take a look at this most traded list here. Would you trade Travis Etienne? No way. You'd take Etienne over Brown, right?
Nope.
You take Brown over Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Heath, Travis Etienne, or Chase Brown?
This feels like
I'm still Chase Brown, but it's close now.
Feels like such a trap. I think I would still take Chase Brown. I will say, looking at the advanced stats, like, things need to turn around for Chase Brown. It's not an unlucky, like, the yards before contact are down, the yards after contact are down. everything looks worse, and he was one of the biggest surprisers last year. So
yeah, they're gonna keep running him right into the guards. Like they just run up the middle with this guy that shouldn't be doing that. They did that with Joe Mixon all the time, and like that's why I like Zach Moss going into last year. It's like the Bengals run the ball up the middle all the time. Moss is more suited. That was my theory. Moss is more suited for that than Chase Brown. And they tried. Just Moss wasn't good enough. Brown's not this great rusher. I feel like he needs Burrow. Like I am worried about him, but it's not like he has every single carry for the Bengals. So at least he's got that, right? He's got that job on lock.
Yes.
For what it's worth.
What's that?
For what it's worth, in the 7 games Browning played in 2023, Mixon averaged over 18 PPR points per game.
Yes. And Chase Brown was a factor then too. Like Mixon was very good.
Line was better then. Their offensive line was definitely better then.
AJ Brown is a buy low. All right. How are we feeling about AJ Brown?
I thought he started to flash more quickness last week. And I think Philadelphia will throw at least a little more moving forward. And it's a cheap price tag for a guy who was drafted in the top 30 range.
Okay.
I agree. I hope they don't have to change offensive coordinators again. Their offensive plan of attack has not been inspiring through 2 weeks.
But they're 2-0.
Right. Which is even scarier.
Right.
For us.
Okay. So let's see. I've got looking at this Emeka Ibuka. You'd give him up for AJ Brown, I assume.
Yep. In a heartbeat.
How about Garrett Wilson or AJ Brown?
Brown.
How about Lad McConkey or AJ Brown?
Brown.
Agreed.
All right, Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's a buy low for you, Dave.
And this is a cheap one, obviously. In some leagues, you might be able to get him off the waiver wire, but I love the speed. I love the deep targets that he had last week. I would imagine that the Packers can use him a little bit more, or at least vary how they use him in their offense. And he's just someone who I think is still stashable. I know what the track record is of Packers wide receivers and the spreading of targets around. I feel like it's going to be different with Golden because of where they drafted him, the capital invested, and what they saw from him leading up to the season. It hasn't quite translated. He made a couple of mistakes in week 2 that if he just, went after, remember that deep ball in the end zone and he's just kind of waiting for it. If he goes after it, that's a touchdown and everybody's going crazy over Matthew Golden. So I'm hoping that he takes some coaching points and he evolves, and maybe we have to be patient with him the same way we have to be patient with some of these rookie running backs. But he's a receiver I would love to have on my bench right now.
Fun fact, Matthew Golden or Jaden Reed is the most dropped wide receiver right now. Matthew Golden's 4th.
I thought
so he should be a throw-in in a trade, if anything.
I thought about dropping Matthew Golden in a 10-team league for Juwan Jennings. And I said, we could set a lineup, right? I was like, I have a co-manager. We could set a lineup now without either of these guys. So I'm going to wait because I think that Golden's going to pay off eventually. You could see the speed. He's so dynamic. Now, Christian Watson's on his way back maybe in the next month or so. Jaden Reed's not out for the year, but you could see that Golden has something that the other receivers on the team don't have. So I kind of felt like Jennings is a better short-term play. Golden's a better long-term play. That's how I played it. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll get through the sell highs. We'll preview Monday night or Thursday night football, and we will get to the worryometer after this on FFT.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I am not like you at all.
Okay, guys, running a little bit long here, so we're going to do the sell highs, and I just want you to kind of just give me a quick thought on it and how you view this player rest of season. Maybe if you want to say who you trade him for. Dave, go ahead. You can start with Javonte Williams, David Montgomery, Keenan Allen, your sell highs. or maybe we'll go to Heath.
Yeah, it looks like everyone.
I was just waiting for my phone to stop ringing in the house, and there it goes one last time. It's a spam call. We don't even use it. I don't know why we have it. Who am I starting with? You want Javante?
Yeah, but I wanted real quick analysis. Just tell me how you value them rest of season.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to remain 20 plus PPR points good the rest of the way. No. But if you value him in around the range of 13, 14 PPR points per game, I think he can do that. So if you can get a player in return who's underwhelmed the first 2 weeks of the season, Genty makes a ton of sense. Hampton is much closer. Those are two guys. Chase Brown would be a third one. We already talked about this already. Like you don't give him away for nothing.
All right, David Montgomery.
I feel like every time he has a big game, you should try and sell high on David Montgomery. He's had 61 total yards on 12 total touches. That was last week. Detroit scored 52 points in the game. Usually when Detroit has big games like this, Montgomery's more involved. I don't think he'll be as consistent as he was in the past. Doesn't have the same sort of snap share as he had. It's a tough schedule rest of season as well.
And he's got, right coming up, Baltimore, Cleveland with the next two games for Montgomery could be tough. Keenan Allen, 81% rostered as of Sunday. He might be up from that now, but Keenan Allen's a sell high for you.
And you're not going to get a ton for him. 17 PPR points per game at least. He's worth more than a throw-in on a trade, but if you can turn him into something better, Keenan Allen and something else to get A.J. Brown, that would make all the sense in the world to me. I was offered Keenan Allen essentially straight up for Travion Henderson. I turned that down.
You're keeping Henderson. Okay.
Keeping Henderson.
Heath, your sell highs are Daniel Jones. Well, we'll go one by one. Daniel Jones, go.
Yeah, I will come around to believing in this more if it gets through the next 2 weeks, or really even this first outdoor game at Tennessee, who's been a pretty good pass defense so far. Derek Carr was the number 2 quarterback a year ago at this time, averaging 11 yards per attempt. It's been encouraging for Jones. Any thought that he was going to lose his job to Anthony Richardson is gone, but I don't think he's going to be someone you really want to start in a one quarterback league.
Tucker Kraft. This is an interesting one.
The next one's like it too. It's Emeka Egbuka. This is only sell really, really high. But what they've done, especially what Kraft did last week on 7 targets, is not what you should expect. We're having talks about Kraft being the number 3 tight end, and maybe he will be, but I don't think it's going to be number 3 like he's close to Brock Bowers or Trey McBride. It's going to be number 3 like he's 11.8 PPR fantasy points per game, and tight end 6 is 11.4. And so I would like to see what does it cost for me to upgrade from Tucker Kraft to Brock Bowers or Trey McBride?
I mean, I think another thing maybe you could do is if you have Tucker Kraft and Tyler Warren, obviously, or maybe Harold Fannin or Jawan Johnson, just like a guy you feel like you could be okay at tight end. Obviously, you could be better than okay if you have Warren. Maybe you just try to trade Tucker Kraft for A.J. Brown or something like that.
For a starter somewhere else. I don't think we'll get A.J. Brown, but I'd love to.
I mean, obviously, a lot of people would be like, no way I'm giving you A.J. Brown for Tucker Kraft. But when I look at the chat here, I see the venom being spewed about all these guys that are having bad starts. So try. I mean, just give it a shot.
You could turn almost all these guys, though, into Rice if you're they're 0-2.
Tucker Kraft might just be a really great player. So you like Heath said, you want to sell really high. I looked at over the last 5 years, 19 tight ends have averaged 13 or more PPR fantasy points per game. 15 of them have had a target per out run rate of 23% or higher. Tucker Kraft is right around there. He's being targeted in consecutive games in ways that we kind of have not seen before in terms of target per out run rate. So I want to see if he can do it for a 3rd straight game, but I had the same thought about Tucker Kraft. And you had said the same thing about Egbuka. You got to get something really, really good. James Conner is a sell high for you. Go ahead, Heath.
Yeah, I thought, and they told us in training camp, and there's been a lot of things we were told in training camp that have not held true, but they told us they were going to play Trey Benson more, and they're playing Trey Benson more. And Trey Benson looks, if not better, at least worthy of having a larger share of the touches than he has in the past. We knew coming into the year, Connor has the age concerns. Connor has the injury concerns. Now he has the Trey Benson concerns. And I think if anybody's still looking at him as a must-start running back, I would like to capitalize on that.
If you can't because I have Connor in one league. If you can't sell Connor, I think I'm going to try to buy Benson and lock up that backfield. I'm not going to give up too much, but to see if I
I like buying Benson.
Jamie, Ken Walker and J.K. Dobbins are sell highs.
I mean, Dobbins is obvious. You know, there's the injury concern that has just unfortunately plagued him basically his entire career. So last year things were going great, missed 4 games, came back and still ran well, but that was with, you know, a slug on his team. If he loses any participation, game time, game reps, whatever the case may be, maybe there's an opportunity for RJ Harvard to run away with it. So while he's not Javonte Williams, he's off to a good start and an unexpected start. So if you can turn him into something better long term, I would look to do that. And in the case of Walker, I mean, he said as much, I think it was coming off of Sunday or Monday, he's okay being in a timeshare if it's going to preserve his health. I don't want to hear that. I want you to go out and say, I want to dominate when I'm in a contract year. So, you know, he was clearly better than Charbonnet in week 2. We'll see what happens in week 3. There's a big opportunity for him against against New Orleans in that defense. So if he has another big game, knowing that this guy missed so much time last year, knowing that there's an injury track record in his past, and knowing that Charbonnet is still going to have a role, like if you could turn him to something great, why wouldn't you do it?
By the way, as we get ready to talk about Thursday Night Football, last week I said I would try to trade Tyreek Hill for Cortland Sutton, and I did. I tried in a league, and it was turned down. This week I've been offered Cortland Sutton for my Tyreek Hill, and I don't know what I want to do. Oh, so let me, before we get into the Dolphins, do you
Have you guys made any trades? I know Heath has, but Dave and Adam, you made any trades yet?
I keep rejecting trades or getting rejected. I tried to trade Joe Flacco to Schaefer for T. Higgins in our Superflex league, and he was pissed off by. He tweeted about how bad of a trade offer it was.
He traded Cooper Kupp to our week 3 opponent for nothing.
I dropped Cooper Kupp after week 1 in
and
a
that guy picked him up, and we're playing in this week.
10-team league. You approved.
This is the same league where you didn't pick up Jawan Jennings?
Actually, yeah. But
so when you said you had a manager, you just didn't decide to name Heath?
No, different league. Different
multiple leagues, Adams thought about picking up Jawan Jennings, but not.
There were 10-team leagues. I mean, a 12-team league is definitely we should add him. But yeah, do you guys think we should be selling our Dolphins, specifically Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. I mean, this could get ugly. I mean, they lose this week, they're 0-3. They may be, firing their coach. And
I'm not selling HM.
No chance.
If someone offered you Robinson for HM, would you do it?
Oh,
Bijan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I give yes.
Okay. So you are selling.
That's not selling. That's upgrading. Everyone will upgrade if given the opportunity. But Achan for Keenan Allen and Chase Brown isn't something that anybody's anywhere in the neighborhood of doing.
Achan for McCaffrey. Who would you rather have?
McCaffrey.
Achan for Heath. McCaffrey for Dave. What'd you say, Jamie?
McCaffrey. I made 2 trades yesterday in one 10-team dynasty league where I was carrying too many quarterbacks. I traded Bo Nix and CJ Stroud for Joe Burrow. So I have known Joe Burrow forever. And then I was offered this trade. I have Trey McBride. And I picked up Harold Fannin. I was offered Bashal Tutin for Fannin, so I made that trade.
Who got Jake Browning in our Super? Oh, that doesn't run until tomorrow.
Oh, Dave and I made a trade. Dave's made a trade.
What'd you do?
I traded Daniel Jones and a round 4 rookie pick for Cooper Kupp and a round 6 rookie pick.
I had Joe Burrow with no backup.
But you got Jake Browning too.
I picked up Jake Browning as well. So
would you have made the trade if you knew you were guaranteed to get Browning?
I wanted to have options at quarterback so I don't fall into the same trap that I've fallen into now 2 of the last 3 years in this league. And my championship window is closing quickly. So now my championship hopes are clinging to Daniel Jones and Jake Browning, baby. Woo!
Would you rather have Browning, Carson Wentz, and Cooper Kupp, or Daniel Jones, Jake Browning, and no?
I'm glad I got something for Cooper Kupp. Not to mention a small pick upgrade.
Okay, Dave, we have a game.
By the way, in one Superflex league, Jake Browning went for the full $1,000 budget for someone.
Yeah, I had to overspend for him in ours. I spent like 22%, something like that.
In a 1 QB.
In a 1 QB, yes.
I got him for
Superflex,
75% in the Superflex flex league.
I tried 981 of my $1,000, and I was just shy. And then I got Carson Wentz for 651.
I got Marcus Mariota in our Dynasty, Bake Burger Dynasty Superflex League for $26, $100 budget. And I was the only one who bid. So
I got Mariota for nothing in a Superflex League of analysts.
I could have done that too. I have Jaden Daniels, so he's a little more important to me. Okay. Dave, there's a game Thursday night. It's the Dolphins. Yeah.
Nah.
Okay. So do we think the Dolphins, obviously you're starting Achane. Do we think the passing game can hit in this game?
I'm starting Tyreek. He's a low-end wide receiver 2, and Waddle is a low-end wide receiver 3.
Would you start Keenan Allen or Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek.
Keenan Allen or Jalen Waddle?
Allen in full PPO. Allen and everything.
I have Waddle ahead.
Let me give you some stats here. How about a bad Tyreek Hill stat? So he's actually 6th in yards per route run, which is great. I think this was among wide receivers with 10 or more targets. But Tyreek only has a 20.6% target share, 23.2% target per route run rate. 23.2% is not bad. You can be a good wide receiver there. But when he was at his best, his 1,700-yard seasons, his target per route run rate was 32% and 36.6%. His target share was over 30%. So right now his target share is 20.6%. It's because Tua is leading the NFL right now, and he led the NFL last year in running back target rate. He's 10% higher this year than he was last year in running back target rate, so it probably won't be this dramatic. But that is what is happening there. But the good news on this is that the Dolphins, and I think if you watch the tape, my opinion, they kind of look like the Dolphins again. Tua has right now, actually, believe it or not, a career high in time to throw in terms of how long it's taking him to get rid of the ball. It was still quick, but he's holding the ball a little bit longer. He has a career high in deep ball percentage, double his deep ball percentage of what it was last year. So I am seeing a competent looking offense, but I am seeing Tua making really bad throws. I don't know what the hell is going on with him. He is missing Tyreek Hill on some big plays. He is throwing ridiculous interceptions where he's just not seeing guys. But I think I actually, you guys can disagree. I think I'm seeing a competent looking Dolphins offense, believe it or not, if Tua can just make the throws that he needs to make.
I think tomorrow night is a big night, because right now the evidence we have is Geno week 1 against the Patriots, Geno week 2 against the Chargers, Tua week 1 against the Colts, Tua week 2 against the Patriots. Like, those two guys were productive and had good passing games playing the Patriots. They were complete disasters in their other two games. Are the Patriots just one of the worst pass defenses in the league?
But against the Colts, had Tyreek Hill open, chunk play, overthrew him, interception. Had Tyreek Hill open, even chunkier play, threw it out of bounds. He's not playing well, but there are opportunities there in this offense, because I think what I'm really trying to get at is the offensive line is actually holding up.
Yes.
And the Bills are probably without Ed Oliver again and Matt Milano for what that's worth, but they still have a feisty pass rush. The Dolphins do not have good history against the Bills. Tyreek Hill has bad regular season history against the Bills. Jalen Waddle has bad history against the Bills. Tua, not great against the Bills. So I don't know. How are you guys? Jamie's not on the stream right now. I think, Jamie's back on the stream. But Dave, I'll let you, what do you think the Dolphins offense does against Buffalo?
I think they give them a fight. I don't think they're going to lay down and collapse. I don't think they'll win the game, but I think that they're going to build off of what they did last week and put some points up. So I'm okay starting Tyreek Hill. I'm okay starting Jalen Waddle. And Tua is just not someone that I'm excited to start. 2 QB league, sure. And Achane's a must.
We'll see pretty quickly how much this team cares about Mike McDaniel.
I think Tua, by the way, has scored more than 16 fantasy points once in 5 games against Buffalo in his career.
Twice. Got
Twice?
2 games over 20 against them.
Am I missing a game? A playoff game or something?
No, 2 in the regular season.
Oh, okay.
For all this talk,
I only did the ones with Tyreek Hill. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Heath.
for all this talk about the Dolphins' history against the Bills, Devon Achane was absolutely amazing against them in both games last year. Had 3 touchdowns, 15 catches, close to 300 yards, and very good in both. I think he had 3 more touchdowns in his rookie season against them. Not quite as many yards or catches.
All right,
he's destroyed them.
I'm sorry. And he's an easy one. James Cook is RB1 right now, so we're going to start him. And Josh Allen is an easy start. So that brings us to the Bills passing game. Dave, do you like anyone other than Josh Allen in the Bills passing game?
I think Keon Coleman's a good number 3 receiver. I like the matchup for him against the Dolphins secondary.
I love the matchup. Do they throw more than 22 passes?
I think they will. So there have been 7 games that Mike McDaniel's coached the Dolphins against the Bills. That includes the playoffs. Dolphins have hung around in 5 of the 7. It's been a 1-score game. Only one has been a win, but they've kept it competitive. And I think the clear weakness in this Dolphins defense, I mean, it's literally everything but their pass rush at this point. So you can pick your poison between the run or the pass, but I think Keon Coleman will be okay as a flex this week. So there's a 2-week window here for Keon to reemerge as a good fantasy receiver again after last week not having many chances against the Jets.
I think this game has the biggest spread of the year so far. 11.5 the last time I saw it.
12
last year. 12 now. Last year, the Dolphins and Bills played a 3-point game, and Josh Allen threw 39 passes. The Bills beat them by 21, and Josh Allen threw 19 passes.
Yeah. I mean, I can give you some Keon Coleman's, Keon Coleman or Wan'Dale Robinson.
I would go Wan'Dale.
Wan'Dale.
I got my guy higher.
Keon Coleman or Juwan Jennings?
Jennings.
Keon Coleman or Omarion Hampton?
Coleman.
Who'd you say?
Coleman.
Coleman.
I don't hate the matchup for Hampton. It's just a matter of how many carries he gets. Can he score?
It's Denver.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes sense to go with Coleman. They both feel like very low floory.
All right. I mean, I don't think he has a great matchup or anything. Maybe Denver's run defense, I guess, hasn't been that good. It hasn't last year.
No. I mean, they look good against Tony Pollard in week 1.
Tony Pollard or Keon Coleman?
Yeah, Coleman.
Pollard.
This could be the week where Pollard actually does something with those 18 touches.
His line is in rough shape.
How about Keon Coleman? I'll do one more. Or Rashid Shaheed.
I'll take Shaheed.
I've got Coleman.
And Waddle's ahead of Coleman, I assume?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What about Kincaid? What about Shakir, Palmer?
No, thanks.
Kincaid, no. I mean, Shakir's not far off from Coleman. Coleman's got more upside, but again, if Josh Allen's going to throw, these are the guys he's going to lean on. So it's a matter of how you anticipate the game going. Like Coleman's got the most touchdown potential. Shakir's allergic to the end zone. Kincaid is not proven yet that he's going to be a consistent touchdown producer despite scoring in week 1. If they could do whatever they want to in this game. I mean, the Dolphins are so bad.
Bills DST, starter sit.
I mean, must start.
I think you should start him.
Okay. Dolphins have been bad. A lot of sacks, turnovers, punt return for a touchdown. They're giving up the second most fantasy points to DSTs. Okay, we have a poll on YouTube. Do you still have a landline in your home? 88% said no. But I should have a landline in I'm just too lazy.
Why should you?
Because if there's a power outage, you definitely should. Like with the hurricane, I remember, growing up in South Florida.
Right.
That's the only reason we
With
kept
the
ours.
hurricane, you need that landline if it knocks the power out. Your cell phone probably not going to get service, and the battery could die. So that landline, you splurge. You know what? I'm gonna bring this up as soon as I get off the air. Say my wife, she can probably hear me. We need a landline in here. All right, let's do the worry.
How many hurricanes do you get in suburban New York City?
Not many, but we've had 3 earthquakes, I think, actually, since I moved to Mount Kisco 2 years ago.
There was one when I was there.
Really? That's right. It's crazy, right?
We had, what was it? Was it Irma where we lost power for like 7 or 8 days? We didn't lose cell service, did we?
I don't, right. You get the cell service back, but if you lose power, it's hard to charge stuff.
Yeah, you use the car.
Yeah, I mean, we kept the landline for that reason primarily. Plus, like, to cancel it, we're saving like a few bucks a month.
Also, I don't know who am I going to call if we have a hurricane?
Dave. He's got a landline. All right, it's worrying.
It also helps for radio spots. Like, they always prefer a landline to cell phone.
I've never heard
really
one
stupid
ask me that in about 10 years.
What, the radio
Yes.
thing? They always ask me. That's crazy.
Well, because they know you have one.
They always prefer, maybe they prefer landline to cell phone. Some might say that they don't care at this point.
He's Dave Landline in like the Rolodex. All right, Worryometer Wednesday. Let's finish with this. Brian Thomas Jr. Worryometer 0 to 10. 0. I'm not worried at all. 10. Yikes.
5.
8.
4.
I'm definitely making some Brian Thomas Jr. buy low offers.
No one's going to accept them.
You're probably right. So people aren't as worried as they say they are, then I guess.
Correct.
Calvin Ridley from Dylan.
Remember those 10 safe wide receivers in the first 2 rounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most of them are safe.
AJ Brown, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas,
Justin Jefferson. I mean, it's been
Justin
bad.
Jefferson.
Jesus, Nico. God, it's 1 inch away from scoring that other touchdown. Calvin Ridley, 0 to 10 on the Worryometer.
6.
I was going to say 6.
5. I mean, we're getting past the brutal part of the season for him.
Alejandro, Jerry Jeudy.
0 on Alejandro.
Yeah, he's good. Jerry Jeudy and Kyron Williams.
6 on Judy, 3 max on Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
5 on Judy, 4 on Kyron.
30 on Jeudy.
30?
Yeah. How's he going to do against Green Bay this week? Probably not well. When are they going to bench Joe Flacco? Probably in week 5 when they're
You know what? That has been the theme of the preseason, and I said it a million times. The way Joe Flacco is playing right now, I'm not sure it's going to get a lot worse.
He isn't. You're right. He's not playing well, but I think it's also that Fannin is so involved, and Tillman. I tweeted yesterday. Tillman has outscored Jerry Jeudy in 5 of the last 6 games that they've played together, excluding the game that Tillman left with an injury.
But that's touchdowns, though. And I'm not disagreeing.
It's also targets. Their targets are almost identical. And now Fannon's in there, and Sampson is in there, and Jerome Ford, didn't he have 5 catches last week? I don't know. I mean, I'm really regretful of all the Jerry Jeudy I have, but you guys are not there yet?
Well, I think we are. I think it's, just creeping towards a bad spot. Not there yet.
Worryometer on Bo Nix being last in PFF QB passing grades, which he is through 2 weeks.
0.
We just lost Joe Burrow. We may lose Jane Daniels. We don't know what Justin Fields. Like, you got to be happy if you have Bo Nix this point.
He's got the Chargers this week, though. It could be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Mack might not play.
Yeah, they played the whole game without Khalil Mack. Did great, but you're right. From Fiesel.
Better offensive line in Denver.
Yes. I'm looking forward to this game, Denver at the Chargers. Tyrone Tracy.
The 2 best teams in the AFC West.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Winner probably wins the division.
Tracy's 7.
Tracy's a big worry.
8.
Tracy's a 9.
Dan has a theory that I don't agree with. He has a theory that Tracy got put in the doghouse for calling out the play calling after week 1.
I asked you about that on Sunday, right?
Did you?
I think so. Maybe I was the one that had the theory, not Dan.
No, Dan said it on Beyond the Box Score. I'm sorry, I don't remember that you saying that on Thursday, but wouldn't that have happened in the first half? Because he went in the doghouse in the second half. He just hasn't run that well, and he's playing on special teams, I guess.
I can't Cam Scatterby is just a better runner.
If he can stay healthy, because all he wants to do is just like run over people.
It's just like your guy.
Who?
Pacheco. Scatterby's got big time Pacheco vibes.
Yeah. Check. Okay. All right. We're out of here. We've got starter sit for the AFC home games tomorrow, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We'll talk
new Commanders depth chart was just released. Would you like to know the order?
Yeah.
Who do you think is one?
Jaden Daniels.
Chris Rodriguez.
Oh, at running back? Yeah, Jeremy McNichols.
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is one.
Oh, that's bad news.
McNichols 2.
Now the big one. Who's two?
McNichols 2.
Yeah, McNichols.
I'll say Chris. Okay.
Man, I hope all of you remember what I called McNichols on the Sunday stream last year. We will be back tomorrow with another edition of Fantasy Football Today.